Jen Cascell here. Welcome back to my channel. I am back with another design team project share and tutorial for Scrap Diva Designs. As always, here is her website and all of her info on the back. Make sure to use that hashtag Scrap Diva Designs for some amazing inspiration. And as always, if I've inspired you in any way, please feel free to use my coupon code JEN10 for 10% off your purchase at the shop. I really appreciate when you use my coupon code and affiliate link. I do get a small kickback and it helps me continue to create the projects that I love to do. So thank you. Today we are going to be focusing on the double layer rosette that is new to the shop this October. It is such a cute die set. You get 4 dies with it. You get 2 size rosettes. So this is the larger of the rosettes and this is the smaller of the rosettes. The smaller rosette measures about 1 1/8. So you're going to get about a 2 1/4 inch rosette. And the larger one measures at about, let's say, 2 1/4. So you are going to get a 4 1/2 inch rosette. This is what I created with the large rosette. So here's the back first. I use the Pink Fresh Holiday Magic for this, and oh my gosh, I just love it. I did use a variety of Scrap Diva dies for this, as well as an SVG file. I started with that double layer rosette, and the back is layered from the Essential Circles, and it's got a great little embossed edge to it. On top of that is another layer of the embossed. This is the bow bag topper at the bottom. I love this die. You see it all the time from me. And then if we flip over, you can see I did that bow again. I did quite a few poinsettias from the Poinsettia die that came out. You'll see those ever-present leaves. I layered a snowflake, Scalloped Shaker Tag Set, and I used the heart-shaped one as well as the stitched piece down here to create a backing for my snowflake. I tucked in some of the cutest antlers that you've ever seen. This is an SVG cut file that I used to create the antlers. I didn't really have anything in the size that I wanted, so I just pulled out my Cricut for a quick cut file that I mirrored so that I could have both sides to it, and then I just added some really cute sprinkles on the top. The Merry Christmas is a Scrap Diva die as well, and that's layered pretty thick. I've got some foam in there as well as some cardstock layers to really thicken it up. There's one of the fulmarine flowers, some of the ephemera from the collection, as well as these are just some gift ephemera. I can't remember where I got them. They're like a layered sticker. You'll see some more snowflakes down here. This is from the leaves die. I've added a couple of these wired stamen in here to give it a pop of red. I just love this. This is on a straw. Oh, and I used the bow straw topper. And all I did was use just the interior of it to give some support to the bows. And then as you can see, there's a straw in there. And then I wrapped it with some fibers and then popped a pom-pom on the bottom. I added, these are some handmade pom-poms as well, just to dangle down. So stinking cute. Love it. Love it. So there are a lot of ways that you can put this die together, and I'm going to show you quite a few. So this is actually what my rosette looked like before I started layering everything on. I left the center portion out so you could see that I did give myself some space. I did not tighten all the way with this. You could, but you know, you're really going to struggle and kind of work at it. So I had no problem leaving a little bit in the center here. This will obviously gain a little more sturdiness when I put a center on top as well. One of my biggest tips for this die is not to use 110-pound cardstock for this. You're really going to want some of your lighter weight cardstocks. I did all right with the Encore textured cardstock from 12 by 12 Cardstock Shop. That's what I used for most of the samples that you're going to be seeing. I did all right with some basil. I did just fine with pattern paper as well. So you can definitely cut a variety of materials with this. So this one is actually how the rosette is supposed to be put together. This is coming from Erica. So it truly is the way that it's supposed to be put together. And you can see that it almost has like a flower shape to it. It's super, super cute. But there's an alternative way that I put it together, and this just kind of gives you like a two-tone look. So it looks orange from one side and then pink from the other, which is what I thought was kind of cute. And as you can see, these are your smaller ones, and I did that same way that Erica showed me how she did it with these. And they just look like the cutest little flowers. I love it. So I am going to show you how to do both. And if you want to see the tutorial portion, stay tuned. Okay, so I'm going to start with the smaller die from the set. You are going to want 2 of each piece. So I am going to take my Barely Art glue for this. You are going to want to turn on your glue gun as well. I used different glue for different parts of this. So I'm just going to add my Barely Art to this part. And I wanted to use my Barely Art because it's going to dry a little thinner than your hot glue does. I don't want it to be very clunky. Once that is secure, you can go ahead and add your rosette layer on top. And once again, I'm using Barely Art for this because I want it to be as thin as possible. Now I'm going to come over here and I am going to start this next layer 1 over. So I'm not lining up the edge here. I have 1 tab left over. Okay. And we can move on to our next one. And now I'm going to grab my scissors and I'm just going to cut away the last spike and tab. I'm gonna use my glue. Once again, remember, don't add a whole lot of glue. I'm going to skip a spike and start laying this down again. When it feels pretty secure, you're going to start scoring. Now, don't worry that you have a couple of spots on here that don't have the white glitter. That is okay. We're going to be covering that up. So we're going to start scoring and we're going to do Mountain Valley all the way down. So Mountain Valley is your standard accordion fold. And we're going to take our hot glue this time around and add some hot glue to this last spike here and bring it over to form a circle. I'm just going to use a little punch to create the center of my rosette. I want 2 of them. And this is why I like working on the glass. You're going to flip your circle over and push down and bring all of those tabs towards the center, like so. I actually like to start on the opposite side for this because usually that first circle that you put down isn't quite on point. So I'm just going to go in with this, push down, and bring my center in. This is the point that I flip it over and just try to make sure everything is pretty tight towards the center. Grab that hot glue again. And pop it on top. And now we've got a two-tone rosette. Very cool. I am going to show you the technique for this, and I'm going to call it the flower technique. So this, you're going to see this layer in between your spikes from the solid layer. And it's surprisingly easy to do. So for the large ones, you are going to want 3 total of each piece. So as you can see here, I have 3 of my red overlay. I have 3 of the solid pink backing. So this one I am going to start by folding on these spikes again. So once again, I'm doing that accordion mountain, valley, and I'm doing that same fold that I did for the last one. I'm not paying attention to the 1/4 inch score lines. I am just paying attention to this little divot. So now for my second one, I am going to bring it up. Okay, and my third one, I'm going to start with the mountain and move on to the valley. So just like you did the first one. So the first and the third start with mountain, second start with valley. Got all 3 of these. I'm going to set them aside for now, and let's move on to our overlay. So the overlay, I'm going to flip it onto the back portion, and I am going to start doing a mountain fold on the spike. So as you can see, it dips in. Okay, and I'm going to do that for every single spike. I'm going to fold those spikes in half so that it forms a V if it's right side up. So this is right side up. You can see my V's. You could do this from the other side. I just found it so much easier to pinch like this. Okay. And now that I have all of those done, I'm going to go back through and I am going to create a mountain fold in between the spikes. So this is what you have. This is what you have from the side. And I'll do a couple more so that you can see. So I found it easiest to go back through and do the second fold separately after you had gotten the spikes done, but you could easily do them together yourself. So once again, I'm moving on to my next one. So I have all 6 of my pieces folded. I am going to grab my liquid glue first and just add to the spikes on the opposite side. This is the side that isn't going to show. I'm going to do the first couple, and starting in that first V, place your overlay. I'm just using my fingers to kind of pinch in there. I am going to add glue to the rest of my spikes now. And then just continue popping that overlay into the V's. You know you've gotten your placement right if everything lines up with your 1/4 inch marks. Just gonna give that one more squeeze and grab my hot glue. Run a bead of hot glue along this edge and grab that strip that I started with the valley fold instead of the mountain. So I am going to pop that right on here. Okay, I'll add a little glue, and I'll use Barely Art for this. I added glue to all of my spikes this time. If you craft a little slower, I would suggest only doing a couple tabs at a time. You do not want that glue to dry before you get to the end. It's not going to be very stable. Once again, I'm gonna grab my hot glue, apply a little to this pink portion, and add my strip on my connecting piece. Coming over to my last one. Okay, and then I'm gonna go through and really tighten that in. Okay. Now once again, I am working from the opposite side. I'm gonna get my hot glue and push down, add my backing piece, and then I'm just gonna push in at the front and hold it for a moment or two. Oh, so cute. Look at that rosette, it's adorable. So here is the double layer rosette with the overlay in between. And then here's one where you get like a two-tone look. Super cool, right? I did want to show you one more thing. So like I said, this one here is about 2.5 inches. This one here runs about 4.5 inches. So what if you want a more medium-sized rosette? Well, I'm gonna help you figure that one out too. Once again, I am taking the large double layer rosette. This time I'm not doing a third, I'm just doing 2. And of course I have 2 of the overlay as well. If I want a 3-inch rosette, I want to cut this down to 1.5 inches and cut it down. 1.5, cut that bottom layer off. Now you could save these and they'll make a great tiny rosette as well. Now that I have these back pieces trimmed down to 1.5 to make my 3-inch rosette, I'm going to add a little Barely Art glue and connect. Now I'm going to grab my overlay and just add a little hot glue to the tips. I'm not going too far down because we're gonna end up cutting some of this off too. I'm starting 1 over. Just lining those tips up. I've added some more glue and I'm doing the next overlay. From here, once again, I'm going to cut off that last one. So I've cut off just a spike and a tab at the bottom. I'll flip this over and just cut along that bottom line. You could do this in your paper trimmer as well, but it's pretty easy. So we can start our folds again. And I am just accordion folding all the way down. I have my accordion fold done. I'm going to bring my hot glue out. Add a little hot glue to this tab and fold over to create my circle. Add some hot glue. Flip it down and then flip it over. I'm gonna pinch those in. Add a little more glue to the front. And now we've got a 3-inch rosette. So a lot of different ways you can use this rosette. I'll quick recap. Here's that really cool overlay. Same thing with this one right here. We have the two-tone on this one. Another two-tone that we've cut down to a 3-inch rosette. It looks really cool with the black and pink. And then smaller of that layered look. Another small one. And then that two-tone. Pretty cool. And let's have one last look at my baby right here. She is so stinking cute. Once again, head on over to scallopeddivadesigns.com. Grab that double layer rosette. It's a really fun die, super versatile. Here's all of her info. And once again, if I've inspired you, please feel free to use my coupon code Jen10 for 10% off your purchase at the shop. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you've got some ideas for a tutorial you'd like to see, please share it with me. I love to hear from you guys. So if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more crafty content. I'll see you in the next crafty video. Bye.